The suburbs were supposed to be safe. Neat rows of houses, white picket fences, and friendly neighbors. But in the quiet cul-de-sac of Birchwood Lane, something sinister lurked beneath the veneer of normalcy. It began with whispers, hushed conversations between neighbors about strange occurrences caught on their Ring doorbell cameras, grainy footage of shadowy figures lingering on doorsteps in the dead of night, their faces obscured by darkness. At first, they dismissed it as pranks or mischievous teenagers, but as the incidents escalated, fear crept into the hearts of the residents. The Johnsons were the first to experience the horror firsthand. It was a chilly autumn evening when their doorbell camera captured a disturbing scene. A figure clad in tattered clothing stood on their porch, its face hidden beneath a hood. Its movements were unnatural, jerky, like a marionette being controlled by unseen hands. The Johnsons watched in terror as the figure reached out a hand, its fingers elongated and twisted, and pressed a gnarled finger against the doorbell. The next morning, the Johnsons found their front door covered in strange symbols, etched in blood-red paint. Terrified, they called the police, but no trace of the mysterious intruder could be found. As the days passed, more and more residents reported similar incidents. Each night, the shadowy figures would appear on doorbell cameras, their presence growing bolder with each passing hour. Some claimed to hear whispers emanating from the darkness, beckoning them to open their doors and invite the darkness inside. Among the residents was Sarah, a young mother who lived alone with her daughter Emily. Despite the growing unease in the neighborhood, Sarah tried to reassure herself that it was just a series of elaborate pranks. But deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. One night, as Sarah tucked Emily into bed, a chill ran down her spine. She glanced out the window and saw a figure standing in the shadows of the street lamp, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Heart pounding, Sarah rushed to the door and locked it, hoping to keep whatever lurked outside at bay. But the terror only grew as the night wore on. Sarah's doorbell camera captured footage of the figure circling her house, its movements growing more frantic with each passing moment. Desperate, Sarah called the police. But when they arrived, the figure had vanished without a trace. As the weeks turned into months, the once tight-knit community of Birchwood Lane began to unravel. Fear and paranoia spread like wildfire, turning neighbor against neighbor. Some barricaded themselves inside their homes, while others fled in the dead of night, leaving behind empty houses and shattered dreams. Sarah refused to be driven out. Determined to protect her daughter at all costs, she armed herself with pepper spray and a baseball bat, ready to confront whatever evil lurked in the darkness. One night, as Sarah sat in her living room, her nerves frayed from weeks of sleepless nights, she heard a faint scratching at the door. Heart pounding, she crept towards the doorbell camera and peered through the grainy footage. What she saw made her blood run cold. The figure stood on her doorstep, its face shrouded in darkness, but this time, it was different. Its movements were fluid, almost human-like, as it reached out a hand and pressed a finger against the doorbell. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she watched the figure turn towards the camera, its glowing eyes boring into her soul. With a shiver of dread, she realized that it wasn't just watching her, it was watching her. In that moment, Sarah knew that she was no longer safe in her own home. With a primal scream of terror, she grabbed Emily and fled into the night, leaving behind everything she had ever known. As dawn broke over Birchwood Lane, the once peaceful suburb lay shrouded in darkness. The houses stood silent and empty, their windows boarded up and their doors locked tight. But in the shadows, something stirred, a malevolent force that hungered for the souls of the living. And as the last rays of sunlight faded into darkness, the watcher in the shadows prepared to unleash its reign of terror upon the world once more. In the heart of a quaint suburban town nestled among the trees stood a dilapidated house on Maple Street. It was a house that had been empty for decades, its windows boarded up, its walls weathered and crumbling. Stories whispered among the locals spoke of its dark history, the place where families had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only whispers of their terror. On a chilly autumn evening, a group of teenagers dared each other to spend the night in the abandoned house. Among them was Sarah, brave soul with a fascination for the macabre, who saw this as an opportunity to prove her fearlessness. With flashlights in hand and hearts pounding with excitement, they approached the looming structure. As they stepped over the threshold, a shiver ran down Sarah's spine. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding, and the darkness seemed to swallow their feeble beams of light. Despite the unease creeping into their hearts, they pressed on, eager to uncover the secrets hidden within the decrepit walls. They explored room after room, each one seemingly frozen in time. Furniture covered in dusty sheets, cobwebs clinging to the corners, and a pervasive sense of abandonment that hung heavy in the air. But as they delved deeper into the house, they began to notice something unsettling. A faint sound echoing from the depths below. Curiosity drove them onward as they descended into the basement, their footsteps echoing off the cold stone walls. What they found there froze their blood in their veins. Room bathed in flickering candlelight, adorned with strange symbols etched into the floor. Before they could comprehend the significance of what they had stumbled upon, a presence made itself known. A whispering voice that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. It spoke of ancient rituals, of sacrifices made in the name of dark entities that hungered for mortal souls. Panic set in as they realized they were not alone in the house. Shadows danced in the corners of their vision, and the air grew thick with malevolence. Desperate to escape, they raced for the stairs, only to find their path blocked by an unseen force. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest as she realized they were trapped, at the mercy of whatever malevolent force lurked within the house. With each passing moment, the whispers grew louder, driving them to the brink of madness. Hours stretched into eternity as they huddled together in the darkness, praying for salvation that never came. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the whispers ceased, leaving nothing but an eerie silence in their wake. With trembling hands, they made their way to the front door, half expecting it to be locked tight. But to their astonishment, it swung open with ease, revealing the moonlit streets beyond. As they stumbled out into the night, they knew they had escaped something far worse than mere mortal danger. The house on Maple Street had claimed many victims over the years, and they had narrowly avoided becoming its latest casualties. But as they looked back at the empty house, they knew that its dark secrets would haunt them forever, a reminder of the true horrors that lurked in the shadows of their world. And though they had escaped with their lives, they would never truly be free from the terror that awaited those who dared to trespass upon its cursed grounds. In the sleepy town of Oak Ridge, nestled amidst a thick veil of mist and shadows, stood a lone Victorian mansion that whispered tales of eerie secrets and unsettling mysteries. This mansion, once a grandiose abode, had long been abandoned by its original occupants, leaving behind a haunting legacy that refused to be forgotten. With its dilapidated facade and overgrown garden, the mansion remained untouched by time, like a forgotten relic lost in the annals of history. Despite its ominous appearance, rumors swirled around town of strange occurrences within its walls, fueling the curiosity of thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Amongst those who dared to venture into the mansion's depths was Amelia, a young woman with an insatiable appetite for adventure and a penchant for the macabre. When she stumbled upon an urban listing advertising a night stay in the mansion, she couldn't resist the opportunity to immerse herself in its chilling embrace. As the dusk settled over Oak Ridge, casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets, Amelia made her way to the mansion, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The host, a mysterious figure known only as Mr. Blackwood, greeted her at the door with a toothy grin that sent shivers down her spine. Entering the mansion, Amelia was immediately enveloped in a suffocating atmosphere of foreboding. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the walls seemed to whisper tales of anguish and despair. Ignoring the gnawing feeling of unease in the pit of her stomach, Amelia followed Mr. Blackwood through the dimly lit corridors, each step echoing like a solemn dirge. Upon reaching her room, Amelia found herself captivated by its haunting beauty. The walls were adorned with faded tapestries depicting scenes of bygone eras, and the furniture exuded an air of faded elegance. But beneath the veneer of grandeur lurked an unsettling presence, like a silent observer watching her every move. As the night wore on, Amelia found herself unable to shake the feeling of being watched. Every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of the wind seemed to be laden with hidden meaning, driving her to the brink of madness. Determined to uncover the truth behind the mansion's dark past, she embarked on a journey that would lead her to the very depths of despair. Venturing into the mansion's labyrinthine corridors, Amelia discovered hidden passageways and long-forgotten chambers shrouded in darkness. Each room held its own secrets, each whispering tales of tragedy and woe. But as she delved deeper into the mansion's depths, Amelia soon realized that she was not alone. Strange apparitions haunted the shadows, their anguished cries echoing through the empty halls. Faces twisted in agony stared out from the darkness, their eyes pleading for release from their eternal torment. Amelia's heart raced with fear as she realized that she had stumbled upon something far more sinister than she could have ever imagined. Trapped within the mansion's grasp, Amelia fought to unravel the mysteries that bound it to the realm of the living. But with each revelation came a new horror, each more terrifying than the last. As the night wore on, Amelia found herself ensnared in a web of deceit and betrayal, her very soul hanging in the balance. In the end, it was not the secrets of the mansion that consumed Amelia, but the darkness that dwelled within her own heart. For in her quest for answers, she had unleashed forces beyond her control, awakening a malevolent presence that hungered for her very soul. And as the first light of dawn illuminated the mansion's crumbling facade, it revealed a scene of unspeakable horror. Amelia's lifeless body lay crumpled on the floor, her eyes wide with terror and her lips parted in a silent scream. The mansion, now free from its earthly confines, stood as a testament to the folly of those who dared to seek its secrets. As the town of Oakridge mourned the loss of one of their own, whispers of the mansion's curse echoed through the streets. But amidst the fear and uncertainty, one thing remained clear: the mansion would forever be known as a place of eternal regret, where the restless souls of the damned roamed free, waiting to claim their next victim.